Hi, dear friends. This is Wasima Isra. Hope you are doing well. So I'm very, very happy to participate in this tag created by CoreMagik. I have seen it uh, maybe a month ago, and I wanted to have specific time to record it and share with you some of these prompts and questions. I must say that I love this aspect of the tarot community where we feel free to be and free to express who we are because coming from a different area, and also I was born in a different culture where the cartomancy was not very appreciated. It was seen as something hidden to do or something hideous even to do because we were entering into the realm of the unknown and that it was forbidden to do so. It was a long path for me to cross that limitation and get that freedom, like own the freedom to play with my cards and even using them for self introspection, for inner discovery, for spiritual work, and not only for divination. So the freedom I I feel in my voice, and also that I feel through the people that are sharing in this tag and many other tags, of course, amazing tags created on YouTube. Uh, that freedom is what I appreciate and look always for, even in my own practice. So I want to share. I want to start with this because it's this freedom of speaking, of being, and also of creating. Because we create, we are so creative in the tarot community and oracle community. We share who we are creatively through paintings, through the text, through the books we publish, and I want, and my intention for today is to bring that freedom and to keep it for myself, even inside the world of oracles. And every time I hit a wall, and I find less motivation and less inspiration in my practice, I see an opportunity in there to destroy another limitative wall. So that that is really, really precious for me, and I hear it and I see it through your voices. So thank you for allowing that. The first question is, what type of art are you looking for in a deck? So tarot decks are for me like museums, alive museums, where you have different cards to watch, explore, but also to nourish my senses. And in that sense, I'm very, very sensitive to the watercolor, to the illustrations like the ones made in the 50s to the 80s, 100. I'm very sensitive also to scenes, the scenes that depict people in their daily lives, markets, in their houses, because that speaks to me in a personal level. Um, and also, I love the plants. So I would say the art that depicts flowers and plants and trees combined with watercolor is something I very much enjoy. So I have, for example, this the herbal astrology. It took me some time to get it, but I love the illustrations. I love the colors with the plants, and also combined with some animals and events that happen in our world. Um, there is this kind of art, and I think I love the watercolor because it's in between two realms. It allows, it's a portal. Water is a portal. Um, it opens the door between the normal world we live in and the magical world. The colors also transpire that sometimes enhancing a certain aspect. Like, let's see, awakening even all our chakras, I would say, such as the gentle tarot, where the colors are vivid, and we are still in that. I feel like the watercolor, maybe the acrylic here, where the colors makes us feel alive. But at the same time, the other aspect of watercolor, such as in this deck, are more soft and gentle and travel through our senses like a very, very subtle essence, flower essence that you take. You don't know really its impact until you have taken it for some days, because it is in its power is in the subtlety. So this is the type of art I very much enjoy. The second question is, what do you search for in a deck? Many things. I shared about the colors, the scenes, the flowers. It has to speak to me, but at the same time, sometimes I love the simplicity of the illustrations. Just sharing my own oracle deck because I look for that simplicity. Our senses are filled. Our body is filled. There's too much of everything, too much of information, too much of decks, too much of books, too much of people, too much of speaking, too much of words. There is too much of everything. So depending on my state of being, there is always that simplicity I look for, because there is the too much in the world. And so the simplicity, the even if sometimes, I love the geometry cards by Francine Hartz. These are like one of my top oracles. It might appear complex because there is the geometry, the people, the colors, there's like more layers, but at the same time it's harmonious. So even if the simplicity and the less is more that is absent in some cards, there is a dance that is done in really harmony, where all the elements get together to sing the same song or say the same word. So I love that. I love those type of arts, and also the beauty. I love the beauty of course, beautiful has different meanings, for everyone, but at the same time, the beauty that we find in nature for me is just amazing. I'm having this deck here now I'm using, which is the deck of walking wonder, or wonder walking, where it's simple, it's harmonious, but also it's beautiful. It has that beauty we find in the butterflies, in the animals, in the trees, and it's just reproducing that or bringing it into the cards opens a new door of perception of reality. So I'm really talking a lot about perception, I feel, today, but that is what cards offer us, is perception of reality that is different. It sometimes opens, sometimes it has to close because we need to focus. So it depends on really which state we are in. The next question is, what deck are you most intrigued by, and why at the moment? That's always, I am intrigued by all the decks because I look at them with really curiosity, knowing that everyone offers something different. But the one of the decks that I'm intrigued by, and I go between, I have to sell it, I have to keep it, which is the No Name Tarot. And the depictions are wonderful, amazing, and but at the same time, it is difficult to read for me. It has sigils, it has plants and animals, and it doesn't have the keywords. So I don't. It's not easy for me to connect to it intuitively. So I'm still intrigued by it and see how that goes. That's one for now. Is there a card in a deck you always check out first, and why? Yeah, there is the Magician card. I don't know if I can find it in my cards easily, but well, anyway, the Magician card, because it appears a lot in my date of birth, and because I feel the energy of Merlin in it, and I integrated it through my spiritual work. I feel every one of us has Merlin, has that magician, but at the same time, it is close to madness, it is close to destruction, as much as it is close to creating beauty, creating something uh, wonderful for himself and for the world. So the magician is at the edge of what is accepted or not, what is logical or not, what is light and darkness. So he is in that, edge. And I'm always intrigued by how the creators illustrate him, because it shows, every deck shows a different aspect of him. So that's one card I look for. Um, if there is one card in a deck that you really don't like, would you not get along, or would you not buy it? No, not really. I mean, if there are many cards, I wouldn't buy the deck. But it happened, for example, with the Handel Tarot. What I did is that the minors did not speak to me, but the majors were like just like shouting. Intuitively, it was so much easy for me to read them, so I just separated them. I just removed the cards that do not speak to me, and I have the freedom to do so, and I love doing it. Can I transform a deck to an oracle deck, a tarot into an oracle deck? So yeah, that I don't have any problem with this aspect. What is your favorite or least favorite card in the tarot? My favorite cards, there are many. In the majors there are many, like the Wheel of Fortune, the Priestess, the Empress, the Magician, as I said. The Tower, because it announces a breakthrough. It's not always a bad thing. The least favorite, I don't really have it, but I feel sometimes a repetition in some illustrations in the minor cards, and that gets me kind of, especially with the pip decks, which are all my thing. I know how to read with them, but it's not something I really enjoy, because it's static. There is no movement, and when there are scenes where there are elements that show the movement, I feel like transported. So I get bored by some of the minors in the pip decks, and they're not really my favorite. So, what do people close to you feel about tarot, and you do in tarot? Oh, as I shared at the beginning of the video, um, it depends. I lived in many circles and countries, and I've been part of different communities, and some of them very much love this aspect of tarot, and they are curious about it. When we go out, we take the cards, and they ask me when I don't bring one. Of course, I always have one. That's for sure. But if I don't show any cards, they are like, "Oh, didn't you bring anything?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe." So there is this kind of openness to it, but there are circles where it's forbidden to look through the future, or look through the veils, or just look at the cards as something. And even some circles where the illustrations are kind of forbidden, knowing that today, in today's world, everything is illustrations. Now the video you're seeing is kind of like projecting myself through it. So it depends on the circles I am in, and in some countries, the culture of tarot is not that developed. They are still looking at that lady playing with the cards and showing the death card, and it's like, are you looking to see into my future with the cards? Still that kind of limiting view of tarot. So it depends where I am and with whom I'm speaking. So there are some circles where I share about it. There are some circles where I don't speak much about it, because it changes the way of the other, how to interact. And sometimes I don't need to share my personal things that far. I don't need to. They just click my name and they will see that I am very much connected to the cards, and I published books about it and so on. But at the same time, I don't shout it, everywhere. Only when I find affinity. So yeah, repulsion, it's always at that edge, like the magician is gonna be with us today. How do you feel about esoteric things in tarot? It depends on what I'm studying. Like, I've been working with sacred geometry, and I feel like a lot of integration has happened. So now I'm shifting into things that are more in the fluid and not static in a sacred geometry form, but it's like more flowy and acting through the world in different way, through humans, through so I'm a lot into that, kind of esoteric sacred geometry. For me is really esoteric. The chakra system, I am not at all into it, because I have a different, in a way, a more complementary chakra system that is not linked to the seven, but the seven is very limitative, and I wrote about that in the shamanic healing with roses and flowers. So the chakras, it's like, I don't find any deck that corresponds to my system of chakras, so it's really difficult. The Kabbalah, it's not something I am interested in. But the other aspects of esotericism, for example, the star seeds, the cosmos, the exploration of the cosmos, the exploration of some, let's say, mindfulness, some practices in that sense. For example, now we are preparing a project about the Arabic letters and their wisdom, and that is, for me, is very mystic. So the word esoteric has become like a basket, like spirituality basket where everything is. But at the same time, there are different realities in esotericism, right? There are different levels, different ways of seeing the world. So everyone will find his affinity, his what he wants in his soul, as a way of expression, as a way of exploring the world. For me, esotericism is really linked to these two aspects, like who we are, how do we see the world, how do we act in the world, and in the depth, like jumping deeply into all these questions and seeing beyond the walls that we have put to each other's and to ourselves. So esoteric, and teric, there is that kind of like inner journey, and based on external aspects. So this is how I see that word, how it resonates for me. And you'll see, of course, there are its own definitions, but it's important to focus and to choose, instead of going wild and wide into the different topics, astrology and so on. But it's important also to choose and that thing that is calling our heart, and adapt it, and discover our own language through it. And it's like dance in serpent, two serpents dancing together, where we develop our own language and our own ESO work, ESO journey. Okay, so the next question: Rider-Waite, thought on Marseille. We remove Marseille apart. It's just like I put a big chapter on it on one of the books, like how to study the Marseille, but still it's not one of my favorite. Like Rider-Waite is the one that is the most used, and is the basis of many tarot produced at the moment. But still, the thought is still one of my favorites for readings, because it holds that geometry and that esoteric, like opening the doors. And there is the I think, was it the next world tarot that is based on the thought system? Forgot the urban tarot is based on the thought, and it's one of the best tarot I read with. But still, from the energy perspective, to be honest, I would say the thought is here, and then the Rider-Waite, and then the other systems of tarot that have been invented too. I think about the Fifth Spirit tarot, or the Fifth Element tarot, the yellow one. I think about the wisdoms, witch's wisdom tarot, which is kind of the same but different. So there are all these kind of inventions, recreations of tarot that I feel they correspond more and more to where we are. So the tarot has to evolve. The system itself has to evolve. What happens after? Where do we go after we attained the world? You know, I want to see other journeys. I want to see other heroes' journeys, heroine journey. Why not? You know, so in my opinion, tarot has to evolve. And even on the energy perspective, our vibration is different now. Our consciousness has opened. So how do we go? It's not enough, in my opinion, to just depict the variety of our of races and people and genders in tarot. This is, for me, just touching the surface. We have to dive into the different races, cosmic races. The journeys of the soul are different depending the souls that come. The journey is, there are many journeys of the souls. Do we have all to incarnate? Do we all reincarnate? Is reincarnation specific only to some? Just like putting all these thoughts out there, you know? So yeah, it has to evolve because we evolved. The next question: what are your thoughts on cardstock? Who does not love the velvet touch? The velvet touch. I'm having the Moonchild at the moment, using it, and I love this touch. But I'm not that, I'm not demanding. I don't demand that much. For me, it has to be resistant because I use it often. For example, I have the Birds Oracle, and I wish this deck has been made on a better cardstock, because it has to be resistant to be used because it's beautiful. So it has to be resistant, and also like that beautiful touch of velvet would be extra. Bags or boxes? Both. I would say the boxes exist for some decks, for organization purpose. I would say it would be easier to put them as such, but at the same time, I have bags that are made by my mom, which I use. Like this one, I'm using it for the Moonchild, and they work really perfectly. So I have these bags that I use according to the energy of the deck. Not forever. Sometimes I put them there just because I'm using them at the moment, and then rearrange them in their boxes when I feel like I have to take a vacation from it. So, and the pouches, the bags add really, really a different vibe to the deck. I don't know if it's because of the energy of my mom. And this one, for example, I'm using it for this no-name deck that I don't know the name. And you see, it works so perfectly with it. I feel that they collaborate so well together. So even this is kind of energy. When you see everything in energy, like, it changes your life. All right. So how did you learn tarot or get into it? Oh my. So I learned cartomancy when I was 15 with some family members, and it was like hidden because we were not supposed to. But I found it fascinating because the cards, like, simple cards, it was the playing cards, started having different meanings. Like for example, the three of hearts, started, and it was pip, it was really pip, and now I'm so happy to have like the variety I have now. But I was fascinated by the dimensionality of a figure, of a card, of a number. It's as if like one card, you open it and then the whole world unfolds. So that's something I still find fascinating in readings. Let's say, for example, this impulsion card, like I have, you open it, you see, and then it's like you start making the story, you start acting, you start being part of that cards. But this does not happen with all the cards for me. You know, as I shared with the no name tarot, it's difficult. It feels like the door is closed, and that I feel for every deck and every card, you need to have like a correspondence. You have to correspond. You have to kind of meet at some point or vibration to be able to open that door in a way. And numerology is something I really love. The geometry, as I said, but the doors that open every card. It's very interesting to see that. Yeah, and then with time, you know, I got into some types of meditation because I always meditated, like, and prayed. Prayer is a big part of my own practice without linking it to a certain religion or tradition. But after I got to some meditations and all the visions that I was receiving, I started with those oracle decks. I'm still fascinated by the oracle decks, and I find a lot of freedom in them, more than tarot sometimes. But then I got some tarot and I sold them, I gave them, were not corresponding. And then I found that Victorian it's called the Victorian Fairy Oracle, Victorian Fairy Tarot deck, yeah, which is still one of my favorites. That's where I found the right correspondence for me. That really fit with me, and I tried, you know, like many. That now I don't know, maybe 9 years ago, that I found the kind of the right one. I don't remember really how many years ago, but that was the big love, the big love that got me again into the tarot, not the oracles but the tarot. Best news in the tarot world I heard lately. I am not much into the news at the moment, but there is. I would put this question with the following one: how many decks are in your to get list? And best news for me is the deck that is going to be published, I think, in May, about the bees tarot. I've been waiting for that for ages, and yeah, that I'm looking forward to it and see how, you know, what messages the bees have for us on global level, because we can do the work with the bees. We can meditate with them, journey shamanically with them, learn from them directly, but seeing that on a global level, because I believe when a tarot comes out is a call. It's a call for some values or a remembering, or on a global level. So I'm very curious about it. If you could keep 3 decks, which ones would you choose and why? Oh yeah, that's the question that we never want to answer. But of course, the Victorian Fairy Tarot, that would be one. Become an Oracle is my own Oracle deck, and I feel really, really hard connection. Of course, with all my decks, but this one I feel a hard connection. I have the card of Bridget here. Since February. It resonates, it vibrates who I am. It's the truth of who I am. There are many, actually, I don't know, for today, maybe tomorrow if I do this video again, the answers will be different. But for today, I'm thinking about the Aura Soma, because it's a healing deck that I use in my sessions and very vibrationally high for me. So those would be the 3 ones for now. How does knowing tarot influence your everyday? Oh, it's so funny. I mean, I don't know if this happens to you, but when you see someone acting in a certain way, you say like, he's acting like the 4 of coins. He's acting like the 3 of cups. He's acting like, and this kind of archetypalization of people, putting the scenes, like the tarot becomes scenes that we see in our everyday life, but also through the journeys we take. Many people, when they start their shamanic path, they are like the fool, you know, jumping into a world and they don't know where they are going, but you know, they are trusting whatever comes, and they discover something. They discover the truth of that experience, or the question. So yeah, you see, like all these kind of events that happen in life. There's also something important in that, is like the emotional, because we are emotional beings. Humans are emotional beings. We are water. We are filled with water. So we are impacted by the vibrations and the frequencies of other people, of all that exist, not only ours. And plus, we have the capacity to generate emotions within us. So these aspects, these states of being, we see them so much in the tarot, especially the Rider-Waite, and when we talk about the Five of Cups, or we talk about the Six of Cups, like leaving. I had this in my session this morning, like the Six of Cups. And when I jumped in it this morning, it was, I learned something new. I learned that the lady that is leaving. Let me see if I have it still on. I mixed my cards here. Okay, I mixed my cards, but the Six of Cups, when the lady is leaving, she's she and the one that is making the boat moving forward, they're not looking behind them. They are not communicating. They are not saying loudly, "We are leaving. It is done." Sometimes some people in some relationships, they are leaving, but they are not saying it, and the other person feels awkward, feels detached, feels the detachment of the other, but she does not understand it. And you see this in the scenes, in the stories of people, and you are able to understand what is happening, because the cards mirror the energy, mirrors our emotional states and our mind state. So that is really fascinating. Yeah, and also I love comparing the cards also to, especially the majors, to people when they read tarot. So we have different styles of reading, right? So let's say sometimes I read like the priestess. So I say just few words, but I don't say everything, and I let the person lift the veil to enter. I can read the tarot like the magician when I am very creative, and I use the tarot to kind of pick the words and formulate something, sometimes do some painting or collage. I can use I can read the cards like, let's say, the Wheel of Fortune. Let's say the Wheel of Fortune. And for me, the Wheel of Fortune is like moving. Okay, this shows the person that reads tarot in 5 minutes, and then she has another one, and she goes through all these states of being. Like, one, she saw something bad, and then something good, and then there are so many ways of reading the tarot. And I mean, check this exercise of discovering what type of reader you are through the majors. All right, if you could turn back to the time, would you have learned tarot any other way? I'm still learning the tarot the same way, to be honest. I am jumping into the cards, and the keywords, of course, they help a lot, but I love jumping into the cards when I am meditating and learning. When I do readings, I don't use the cards much for readings, just when it is needed, and I use them mostly for healing. I need that kind of like, quick inspiration, quick. And when I am into the quick, when I do reading, I'm not using the memory aspect of me. I'm using the present moment, the moment T. I'm connecting, I'm merging with the life of the other. It's a really fantastic experience. So yeah, it depends. But for me, I think the ideal is to jump into the cards. I remember in the video I shared recently about the witch's wisdom, where the creators made 120, that number stuck in my head, 120 journey to discover what every card is about, and that is magnificent. That is really great to do. I mean, this is the best practice in my opinion. Yeah, so all right, let's continue. What are your thoughts on the Three of Swords? So jumping into it, when I see the Three of Swords and jump into it, it's still external. It's something that is happening, I'm watching, but it's external. Because imagine if your heart is pierced, you don't have a heart anymore. You die, because the heart is the core of who you are. It's the machine that allows you to get the blood moving, to get your mind working, so that you observe. So if you are observing something, it means that your heart is still working. Means nothing really pierced it, right? So there is this kind of like external detachment, that we see facing something out of ourselves. We have been out of ourselves. That happens for many reasons. Maybe we brought dreams from the outer world instead of taking our own dreams to realize them. Maybe we thought we are someone, and then we discover that we are someone else within us. There is kind of kind of space between the reality and our perception, because we lived out of ourselves. And that is the big realization of the Three of Swords for me. Understanding that we have been living aside of ourselves. We have been living away from our core, from our being. And sometimes you can even see it around you. People who are not even in their bodies, who are not even in their hearts. Who are they? Where are they? They are out somewhere, like jumping between the past and the future. But where are they? Who are they in reality? And that's when they realize it. Something happens. The mind blocks, and they realize that, oh, who am I? That's how I see it today. All right. How many decks do you have right now? Oh my, I can't answer that question. I don't know, 200, 300, I don't know, maybe more. I don't know. If you could befriend one person on TarotTube in Tarot world, who would be? Oh my, I always imagine all of us, Tarot tubers and those who watch Love Tarot having like a big party or a big conference, a big ceremony all together, showing all the differences we have, all the different decks we have. That will turn us crazy, right? I try to put those events and meetups where I can meet people, whether from YouTube or other, and I still find it difficult to regroup people around, maybe because of their occupations or the space or the place. I don't know, but I think it's for me, I would befriend all of you guys, and I really mean it, because we have common passion, and if we if we understand and accept our differences, we will be able to group, make partnerships, work together. How can we work together? I mean, the best I can do is really put a platform, like for example meetups or Zooms or things like that, so that people can group. By the same time, as I'm not much into the marketing aspect of things, maybe people don't hear about it, don't have the right time and so on, but or not the resonance also that can play. But I think befriending, Tarot help us to befriend ourselves, to become friend within ourselves. And the next step that I see is really befriending others, accepting our differences. And then the third step is to commune, partnerships for love for Tarot. And one of the things I would love to change is the categorization of the cards of the Tarot, in that collaboration, if one hears me out, from playing cards to books. Tarot is a book. It's a cartography book. It's not a playing card. People use it, playing cards, in for, I don't know, for money, for whatever that reason can be. But Tarot for me is a book. Oracles are a book. We learn so much from them. They are images, they are healing images, they are teaching images. Why are they still categorized as playing cards? They are not. They should not. They should be categorized as books. If the category changes, that will change a lot of things regarding the production and manufacturing of the decks. Shipping would be different between the continents. The customs would be different between the continents if their category changes. So I'm really seeing far when I talk about tarot, for love of tarot, the different schools of thought. And as we are dispersed, and there are a lot of content of people reading tarot and showing cards and so on. There are a lot of it. But at the same time, what is the balance in all of this? What is what is for the best of all? What is for the best of the practice itself? How can we make and continue the path of making tarot something that is valuable, that is not seen as something secondary or something. I mean, if you say, for example, that you read cards, it's people still have prejudice. We are still being discrimination. We are suffering from discrimination for our practice, and I have to say it. If I say about cards, I'm still discriminate. So there are some rights that I see would be amazing if we can collaborate and do something about it. All right, so what is your favorite part of the day to read tarot? Is it I mean for many, is it the morning, is it the evening, is it in the middle of the day? It's all the time. So my practice for the moment, like in the morning, I love doing the affirmations. I'm using it for affirmations, for setting the right energy and direction, and also for learning, because I'm working a lot with the Arabic letters. I'm going to share about that more in the next weeks, maybe month. So we are working on it. So I'm learning. So there's these two aspects. During the day, it's even for my work, for creative work, or for writing, or for sessions, or wherever that can come. I'm always having cards around. And the evening, I love using them in the evening, whether to recreate some of the cards, I write down or modify some cards, or just to kind of make a summary about my day. I see also that my practice changes during the week. Some days I'm very into it. Some days I'm like, just one card is enough. So I follow that a lot. And also, favorite part of the day is when I make also, or the day or the week was when I make these videos to share with you my passion. I love also Lucy, if you see this video, hi. And Tara also, if you see, I will tag you too. So yeah, it's I love these moments where I speak to people who read the cards, and Steph also, and when we share about the cards, that's also my favorite part of the day or the week, depending when we do it. All right, I got it into less than 45 minutes. That's great. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see our productions, our cards, our decks, our books, you can also check the link below of CoreMagik. And talking about the decks, we are preparing a retreat in Sintra this year. If you want to create your own, if you want to create your own deck inspired by nature, the trees, the stones, the magical palaces of Sintra, check the link below also. I would be really happy to see you joining this program, this retreat of 6 days. It's gonna be intensive, but at the same time nourishing, because we will be out in nature here in this project. What else? Anyway, I will leave some links. Just check our projects below, and I wish you very, very nice day. Bye bye.